So, says Arjuna, our friend Arjuna, after hearing everything from Krishna, that the mind should be like a flame without a wind, without flickering, steady. Arjuna says to Krishna, owing to the fickleness of the mind, I find no way of firmly establishing in spiritual communion through equanimity as instructed by you. My mind is so fickle. Sometimes it goes there, sometimes it comes here. You are saying equanimity, but I find it difficult to retain the equanimity of my mind. The mind is so fickle, turbulent, powerful, and unyielding. True. Truth. Arjuna doesn't want to pretend. Doesn't want to tell Krishna, I've already become a great yogi after hearing. No, he says, my mind is fickle, turbulent, powerful, and unyielding. To control it, I think it is as difficult as controlling the wind itself. In fact, it's more difficult than controlling the wind. So what do you say? What do you suggest? So, Krishna says to Arjuna, O mighty armed one, Mahabaho, what has happened to you? Of course, the mind is fickle and difficult to be checked. O son of Kunti, his mother is Kunti. Interesting. Sometimes he calls him son of Pandu, sometimes father. Sometimes he calls him son of Kunti, Kaunteya. So here, father and mother are equal. Yeah. But I agree that the mind is fickle and difficult to be checked. But yet, it can be brought under control by dispassion and spiritual practice. Yes, of course, to begin with, the mind is fickle. I understand that. If it's not fickle, why would we do all the practices of stilling the mind? It is not still, it's moving, it's fickle, it's turbulent. But one can bring it to a state of quietness and tranquility through effort, through dispassion, which means not falling into passion all the time. Passion for this, passion for that, some control, and spiritual practice. Now these will go hand in hand. The balance is to be maintained through not allowing the mind to get turbulent. What is the best way? Watch the mind as it becomes turbulent and say, no, this is not the solution. Quiet, get down, be calm. But in one day it cannot be. So through constant practice, Even my view, says Krishna, is that yoga is difficult to be attained by people with uncontrolled minds. But those who have through practice, constant practice, learn to have their minds under control, it's possible to attain if they strive with the proper means. There are different ways of striving for it. I understand it is difficult, but it can be attained if you strive with the proper means. If you know how to handle this mind, it is possible to attain equanimity and tranquility of mind. Don't say, I can't. It is possible. I understand your difficulty. So he's talking to him like a little kid. He says, I know, you are still playing with the toys. A time has to come when you are grown up and you throw the toys away and say, I want the real thing. Right? So it takes time. So you need the proper means to get there. And the proper means is deep inner meditation, which is already discussed. Everything has been discussed. Now, Arjuna doesn't give up there. Arjuna says, okay, I'll try. But, what happens? What is the fate of a person like me who has firm faith, who has a firm belief that it is possible, who's endowed with firm faith that it is possible, but who is not steadfast in his meditation or his practices because of distractions, and therefore fails to reach spiritual perfection. What happens to me? He says, look, I understand all that, but what is my fate? I have firm faith, but I'm not steady in my practice. I'm not steadfast in my practice, and therefore I'm not able to calm the mind down because of distractions. And therefore, a person like me fails to reach spiritual perfection. That's one side of me. Even though I have firm faith in what you are saying, I don't have the discipline to be steadfast in my practice, in my meditation, in my kriya, or whatever I do, owing to distractions. And therefore I fail. What if I fail to reach spiritual perfection? What happens to my soul? Oh, mighty armed Lord, bewildered in the path of the Brahman, confused in this path of the Brahman, not being able to practice and find the truth, supportless. Will I lose both this world and the next? Do I perish like a rain cloud which is torn by the wind? He says, what happens? Suppose I cannot attain spiritual perfection. I try, but I'm not able to be steadfast. Now, much of my life and energy is spent on trying to attain spiritual perfection. Therefore, I'm not able to attain to grow in this world. So, I'm not growing here. I'm not growing there. What happens to me, a person like me? Am I like a cloud which is torn asunder by the wind? What is my fate? How do I go? Honestly, Arjuna admits that he's finding it difficult to walk the path. I have faith. I know what you're saying is true, but I don't have the sufficient strength of mind to move on this path. I cannot practice anything consistently. You know how the mind is? I practice something one day, then after 6 months I practice something else, then another. Then by the end of the year I'm practicing nothing. So the steadfastness is not there. So then what happens to me? I'm neither here nor there. I'm lost in the middle. What do you suggest for a person like me? I accept your divinity, I accept your wisdom, but please tell me what to do. Krishna My doubt in this respect has yet to be cleared completely. Please clear this doubt for me. And who is better than you to clear this doubt? I know that you are someone who is beyond ordinary things, who's powerful, who knows everything. I find none better than you to dispel this doubt of mine. That should I try? Because if I try and I don't succeed, I'm neither here nor there. So what do? Many people who are in the spiritual practices, spiritual path, at some point experience this difficulty. Even the greatest have gone through this. This is the great temptation. The mind gives many reasons, beautiful reasons, to stop one from going on the path. Many beautiful reasons. Things like, oh, if you go on the path, what will happen to your children? What will happen? The fact is, anyone who walks on the spiritual path, definitely their children will be looked after. There is no doubt about that. But people are fickle-minded. What will happen? If I be like this, what will happen to my property? You know how it is? The confusion. The main thing is that the mind is always at work trying to take you away from it. Some excuse or the other has to come up. So, to see this and figure out is the most important thing. Now, the question that Arjuna asks is, if I continue like this, where am I going? Am I going to lose both this world and that? Please explain this to me, save me, tell me, clear my doubt. I cannot ask anything. I cannot ask anybody else. In my position as a king, as a great warrior, how would I ask anybody else? They'd say, hey, what kind of a man are you? You know me, so I can talk to you openly. You're almost my inner self. Please explain to me. The Blessed Lord said, O son of Pritha, a person who tries to move on the spiritual path does not meet with downfall either here, in this world, or in the hereafter. This is an illusion you're carrying in your mind. One who searches for the truth, who moves on the spiritual path, does not fall down. There is no downfall for him, either here in this world or in the hereafter. Know for certain, my dear man, that one who treads the path of virtue never goes to ruin. One who walks on the path of virtue never goes to ruin, although it may appear as if he is ruined. Now, what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna is that if you are going on this spiritual path, now for this you need to, at least for the time being, hypothetically believe that there are many births. For this argument which Krishna is giving, that one comes back many times in life. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. After some time one gets fed up of this cycle and says, can I stop this? The stopping is called the stopping of the cycle of coming and going, which the Buddha called nirvana, or which it's called moksha. Yeah, it's when you come to this world, some things are very nice, but there are also things which are not, which trouble you. There is pain, there is grief, and there is death. No, it doesn't let anybody off, right? You can say it's an unwelcome guest, but it is a guest who comes in no matter how you shut your door. Death. So is there something in us which doesn't die, which is never born? That is your true essence, which is consciousness. But the theory here is that there are many birds. Let me first finish reading, then we will talk. So, know for certain, dear one who walks the path of virtue never goes to ruin. The fallen yogi, now he's telling Arjuna, suppose you fall and you're not able to reach the highest. You're not able to reach the inner essence of your being. Before that you die, let's say. The fallen yogi, meaning one who has fallen from the path of yoga, after death, goes to the spheres of the righteous and lives there for unnumbered years. Whatever good and whatever effort he has put, he is rewarded for that effort. So he goes to a plane, a realm, where he enjoys the effects of the good things that he has done, the effort he has put, but then he has not reached the goal. So what happens? Then he comes back and is reborn in this world in a pure and prosperous family. Because he never stops. He goes, he enjoys what is called heaven, like a place where there is no pain for some time, where everything is nice, where all the virtues that he has, all the good things he has done are rewarded and he enjoys himself. And then he comes back again to this world. But he comes back under circumstances where he is able to now move towards the spiritual. So he comes back in a pure family, a family which is pure and prosperous, so that he can pursue his spiritual journey. It's never lost, says. You don't have to start with square one. You keep your bank balance and you start from square 3 or 4, wherever you left it. Don't get worried that you'll have to start again. What you have already done remains with you. It never goes. So you come back again under circumstances where you're able to pursue a spiritual life without much difficulty. Okay? Second, I have to tell you that in my case, I do not believe in rebirth because I know it. Because when the sun is there in the sky, you don't have to believe it is there. It is there, right? If I say I believe the sun is there, then I'm not sure. I haven't seen the sun. For me, I don't want any argument or discussion or to say that if there is past life or not. It has been my experience. I don't know, maybe you can say I'm imagining, but it's my experience. I don't need any proof for that. I don't believe so because it is so. So, this is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, that if somebody has in the past moved towards this path, effort towards reaching the goal, and in between he fails and he dies due to some reason, then you come back under such circumstances that you are able to complete your journey. You don't have to go back to square one, then again go through all this problems and come. You've already come to a place from where. Now, 2 things have been mentioned. One is born in a pure and prosperous family. Why? Because then from childhood, he is exposed to purity, to good things, right? So that he doesn't go off the mark. And 2, prosperous family, because usually, unless one has experienced this world for some time, the greed for this world does not go. But if you are in a prosperous family, by the time you are 16 or 17, you have seen how much happiness the dollar can buy. How much? You see it in your house, you see it outside, you realize, but if you're in a poor family, sometimes, there are great yogis who have been born in poor families, but all the time the mind is saying, oh, if I had some money, it would have been nice. I'm so poor, I cannot afford this, I cannot afford that. But here, you can afford everything, and then you see, oh, that's all there is to it. Shall I go beyond? Is there something beyond? So that's why these two things have been mentioned, in a pure and prosperous family. But the combination should be both, pure and prosperous. Not only prosperous. Many prosperous families who are not pure. Pure meaning people, people who think of good things, wanting to do good to others. Such a family, the person is born. Okay, if not in that, I'll explain something about this a little later personally. A little later, he mentions, or he is born in a family of people full of wisdom and spirituality. There are two chances, either in a good, pure and prosperous family, or in a family which is full of wisdom for generations who have been learning, trying to understand the truth and spiritual. A rebirth under such conditions is very hard to get in this world. Very hard to get in this world. But you, Arjuna, if you are lost and you don't complete your journey, a person who falls from his journey, from the practice of his yoga, and dies in one life is called a Yoga Brashta, one who has not succeeded in yoga, who has fallen. Such a person may be born again. He says, don't fear. If you lose, you will come back, and you will come under such circumstances that you will be born in a pure and prosperous family, or you will be born in a family which is full of people, full of wisdom and spirituality, so that from childhood you move towards it. And then, Arjuna, you will regain the spiritual discernment of your previous birth. Where you have progressed till then, soon you will discover. And then you need to complete the journey, that's all. And then you will strive harder for perfection. Having seen this, you will say, oh yes, this is where I dropped off. Let me try hard and go back to it and complete my journey. Even if helpless, that person, will be driven towards the path of yoga by the force of his previous striving, by his previous experiences in the other birth. For even a beginner in the path of meditation goes above the stage of rituals, Vedic rituals. Even a person who starts meditating for 10 minutes a day soon becomes better than a person who's 24 hours doing some rituals. As for the yogi who's striving diligently with full effort, he is cleansed of all his impurities and gains spiritual perfection after passing through several embodiments. Finally, he reaches the highest state, which is release from all conditioning. And then a yogi, which means one who is practicing meditation, is superior to a person who is doing tapasya, austerity. A meditating yogi is more important and a better progress person than one who is performing austerity, which means I want to give up everything. Some people perform very strange austerities. If you go to the Kumbh Mela, which happens every now and then in India, you'll see a guy standing like this with one hand up. He's supposed to be doing tapasya, austerity. 10 years he hasn't put his hand down. He's all withered. Yeah. He expects to reach the Supreme Spirit. It is foolish. If he had only spent 10 minutes every day meditating, he would have reached the state instead of holding his hand up. Yeah. Or, from tomorrow I will not eat salt. It may be good for BP, blood pressure. But from tomorrow I will not eat salt. 20 years I haven't eaten salt. Okay? Tapasya, austerity. But does that take you to the truth? You can eat a little salt every day and meditate. You see, you know what I mean? So, Krishna says to Arjuna, a person who meditates, even a bit, is better than a person who performs austerities. He's also superior to a scholar. A yogi who meditates every day for some time and becomes proficient in meditation is definitely superior to a scholar. A scholar reads a lot of things, but he doesn't know a thing. He's also superior to a person who is all the time doing rituals, to a ritualist. There are people like that. From the morning they get up, everything is a ritual. Therefore, Arjuna, you become a yogi. Please, don't get dejected. If not now, at some point you will reach the goal. And of all the yogis, he is the most attuned in spiritual communion, who worships the Supreme with abiding faith and with his innermost self fused with me, who realizes that my innermost self is none other than the Supreme Being. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita's Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Ashtavadhyaya, ending of this chapter. Over. Tomorrow we'll take something else. Surprise. So, the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called the Yoga of Meditation, Yoga of Practice, we just finished reading. Practicing is different, but we just finished. Now, connected to this, I need to tell you a couple of things. If you go into the history of spiritual beings, saints, spiritual beings, you'll find that some, while they are still young, even a child, are very spiritual, are practicing meditation. Some, even when they're old, they turn to the spiritual. And some at very young age attain spiritual realization. Why is this happening? It's that which Krishna was trying to explain to Arjuna. These are what are called Yoga Brashtas. People who have tried hard, in many lives maybe, to reach the goal. And then this may be their final life. The last one, some more remains to be done, little more. So quickly they do it and they're free. That's what happened. But you cannot say who is like that. Nobody can guess. Suddenly there may be someone like that. There are no symptoms by which you can find that person. There are cases of people who were leading a terrible life till the age of 18, 19. Then suddenly they saw something and said, no, this cannot be, and turned. How did it happen suddenly? Because They have for many lives put in effort. Let me give you an example of a well-known case. And when such beings are there, you cannot imitate them. You can't imitate. You say, oh, so-and-so is like this, so I will also, I will do exactly as he did. No, not possible. I'll give you a well-known example. You must have heard of Ramana Maharishi of Tiruvannamalai. Okay. Till the age of 15, he did not practice any meditation. He did not read any scriptures. He did not have a guru. He did not have any teacher. Nothing. He was a normal child. Only extraordinary thing was when he fell asleep, nobody could wake him up. It was so difficult to wake him up. Deep sleep. Beyond that, he did nothing. He did not study any scriptures. He did not practice any meditation. He did nothing. Then, at the age of 15, one day while he was doing his studying for his mathematics or something in his brother's house, he lay down on his bed straight and he was looking up and he suddenly realized that he had died. And he said to himself, I've died. Now let me lie down straight. This is how he has seen dead bodies being carried to the cremation ground. Actually, in experience, true experience of himself, he saw that he was somewhere else and the body was lying dead. It's not an imagination or he thought like, no. He actually was out and he looked and there is this body lying here. He said, this is not, oh, this is my body. Yes. So I am not this body. Through experience, not through logic. I'm not this body. If I'm not this body, then who am I? That's where his questioning started. So then he left home and wandered around. His mind was fully absorbed in trying to find out that if I am not the body, then who am I? What is it that is me? He even said, this body is mine, so I cannot be my body. Like this jacket is mine. If I take it out and hang it on a hook, that's not me. I cannot be the jacket because the jacket is mine. So I have to be different. So his mind was absorbed in that. And he said, the mind belongs to me, so I cannot be the mind. If the mind is mine, then I cannot be what is mine. Mine is different from what I am. So he went, watch out. Now, no guru, no teacher. He was completely absorbed in that. Where is this being coming from? Who is this fellow who says I am? Let me figure this out. He needed no help. Why? Because many lives of spiritual practice. This was his final life. This is what is being discussed here. And then many years he spent trying to figure out deep inside himself, who am I? Then I think at some point he found who he was. He found that the only reality was the Brahman and everything else is temporary. And that is the true reality. That is who I am. In fact, he said that in a simple sentence. He said, Deham Naham, I am not the body. Koham, then who am I? Soham, I am that supreme being. Soham. And he found out. Now, what I am trying to say, he had no teacher, so I cannot say Ramana Maharishi did not have any teacher. So I will also, who am I? You don't get who you are. Do you think you'll find who you are by sitting down and saying, who am I? Who am I? You'll find many people doing that in Tiruvannamalai. Who am I? If you say that to a proper psychiatrist, he will take you into the hospital saying, this guy doesn't know who he is. Who am I? I am, yes, of course. So it's not that. It's in his special case. There are special cases. And why so special? Not because they are special, but because they have worked at it for many lives. This is what he's trying to tell. There is no, it is not unjustifiable, it is fully justified. There are people who have worked for spiritual progress many lives and come now, little bit to finish. Very quickly they find it, and that's it. Okay. Another case. Swami Vivekananda's teacher, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He was not educated. He hardly could sign his name. Swamiji was educated, of course. And how did he get his first experience of samadhi, or spiritual state, spiritual state of mind? Not when anybody taught him anything, not when he was meditating, nothing. At the age of 8, at the age of 8, he was walking along the paddy field. You know what's a paddy field? No. A place where rice is grown, called paddy. Walking on one of the buns of a paddy field with a bag on his neck with a lot of, spices which children carry, eating and going quietly, happily. And it was a dark sky, totally dark, black. Suddenly, he looked up and saw a flock of white geese flying across the black sky. The contrast hit him suddenly. He said, "Oh, Ma," and fell down. And he was in a trance. Then they brought him back, and he came back. So which means at that age of 8, he already had some experience without any preparation, without a teacher to guide him. How did this happen? Because he has done all that before. Many lives. He came here for a purpose, and that happened very fast. So these are what you can call prodigies. One cannot imitate the prodigies. It's not possible. Yeah, having said that, nobody knows who is not a prodigy. Any one of you could be a prodigy. We don't know now. One day suddenly you'll see a lightning strike and say, "Hey, he got it." And then you'll remember how many lives you worked towards it. Not now. So, this is to be noted, that your spiritual effort never goes waste. In my case, I do not want to say that about myself, but still, I started meditating at a very young age. I did not know why I was meditating. There were no teachers for me at that time. I only felt like meditating. God knows why. My parents got worried, actually. When I saw clouds, I thought these were the Himalayas. And in Kerala, where I come from, there are no snow-clad mountains. It's so hot. This guy, there's something okay or not okay? In fact, I was taken to. When I was in college, they took me to a psychiatrist who said, "I want to talk with him alone. Can you step out?" So he got them out. And then he closed the door and he sat down and he said, "Listen, what do you feel when you sit and close your eyes? Can you tell me? Because I am also moving on this path." So anyway, and then at the age of 8, I have a visit from Babaji, Maheshwarnath Babaji. Where did he come from? There is a link in the past. Otherwise, why would he come all the way from the Himalayas into southern end of Kerala, looking for a fellow who was considered in the family to be the most mischievous of the children, who tried to climb coconut trees and pluck coconuts and fall down any time. So, it's all linked. The message is never lose hope. in the spiritual practice. You never know when it happens. Keep your mind on it and move forward. This is the message. And then how to meditate, where to sit, all that has been discussed. Our idea is to keep going till you touch the Philosopher's stone, turns copper into gold. In fact, there is no such thing as the Philosopher's stone. It is an allegory which they invented to say that a base mind can be converted to gold by the touch of a spirit. There is no other. You cannot turn copper in. If that was possible, the scientists would have done it long ago. That's it. This chapter is over. I don't want to start a new chapter at the fag end of the day. Okay? We will start tomorrow. Now, we can have some questions and answers. We can start a little early.